May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be ever pleasing in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. So many people always ask, usually when they meet me, and if I'm not in a collar, once they find out what I do, they go, "Why are you a pastor? What's your story? How'd you get here? Why would you want to stay involved with this church thing? Why are you so young and involved in this church thing? What kept you around?" Both people inside and outside the church always want to know, what keeps me here? I think they think if I have the secret of what kept me here, that will somehow translate to all the other young people, then they'll come flocking into the church. Which is just not true. Because everyone is unique and different, and there are multitudes of reasons why we're attracted to and why we continue to come to church and engage our faith and engage our God. There's not going to be one magic solution that makes it all work. And certainly, I don't have all the answers or all the secrets. But they keep asking why I stay in the church. Why I got so passionate about the church that I ended up making it my career in my life. Now, some of you may have heard this story, because I think I've shared it before. But I know I got so interested in the church. I got so interested in my faith. I got so interested in my God because someone in the church first took an interest in me and in my gifts. When I was growing up back in Butler, PA, north of Pittsburgh, at Trinity Lutheran Church, which has about anywhere from 80 to 120 people on Sunday, we had a youth pastor and a head pastor. And the youth pastor, Pastor Peter Norby, saw amazing things in me that I would have never seen on my own. All through high school, he got me involved in the church, and not in an aggressive way, not in a pushy way, but he just noticed things, and he made suggestions, and he encouraged the gifts that he saw in me, and said, "Hey, why don't you be on the Children and Youth Committee and help us plan all the youth events that you also go to? Hey, I helped get youth representation on church council, and I think you would be a really good fit with the gifts you have to serve on council. Hey, we're doing Youth Sunday where the youth lead the service, and I think it'd be really cool if you would preach because I think you have the gifts and the talents to preach a sermon." Pastor Peter had a gift, and it wasn't just with me, that he was able to see what people were good at. He was able to look at them and understand the gifts that they had that could be used and harnessed to serve God and serve our neighbor. And he didn't just stop at recognizing it. He pushed people to use those gifts. He encouraged and invited them to bring the talents they had into the church. And he said, you have a gift, and here is a way you can use it. And he saw me, this youth who was still figuring out his faith, still figuring out his call, still figuring out what he wanted to do with his life. And he saw that my hands were open. He saw that my hands wanted to try things. And he filled my hands with things to do. And it was such an amazing experience to have someone see what I needed, see that I needed to be involved in something, see that I needed to practice and use and test out these gifts, and to give me the space and the openness to try those things and use those talents and see that when I did use those talents, I helped other people. I inspired people. I got to know people. I got to connect with other people. That using my gifts could have a positive impact in the world around me. To have that someone come and say, "You have something here. You have a talent. You have a skill. You have a gift. And I have a place where you can use it. And use it well." That was such a freeing and beautiful and supportive experience that still propels me and welcomes me into this church even today. And I go back to our first reading for today, Genesis. We are all created in God's image. Male and female, God created them. And we all have that spark of creation in us. We all have those talents and those gifts of God. We are all created with a purpose, and we are all created with skill. Each of you, each and every one of you, are created in the beautiful image of God. And you have skills and talents to bring to this church. You have God-given abilities and skills that this church needs to build up the body of Christ, to serve our neighbor. It's not just me up here speaking and preaching. It's not just me, the professional prayer and pastor, but you all in your gifts that you bring to this place. When you lead Bible study, when you paint the nursery school, when we go out and hang door hangers, when we meet the community, when we pray with others, you bring your talents and your skills to this place. And that's the image of what church should be, isn't it? A place where people are reaching out, saying, I need to do something, I want to do something. And the church fills their hands and say, here, use your skills. Be encouraged and know that this is a place where you can put your skills to good work. Work that glorifies God and work that helps your neighbor. The parable I picked for today, because we are off lectionary to do this stewardship thing, can seem a bit harsh. And yes, in the parable, when we talk of talents, we're of course not speaking of talents like we think of a talent show today, but talents as money. When the master summons his slaves and says, here's 5 talents, here's 2 talents, here's 1 talent, I'm going away, make sure I have more money when I get back. Put these talents to good use. Make sure they multiply and grow and are effective. And 2 of the slaves go out and they use those talents and they make them valuable. They double what they have. And there is one slave who is scared. One slave who is petrified of his master, knowing his master is mean and cruel. And he buries his talent. Too afraid to do anything with it. Now this is where I'm going to diverge from the reading, because too often this reading I think is used to turn God into kind of a vengeful person, because God is often seen as the master in this story. So when the one slave comes back with only his 1 talent and ends up with this awful fate of being thrown into the outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth because he didn't use his talent. He didn't make it grow. I like to think God is more like Pastor Norby, who finds the people who have the talent, who might be burying their skill. Because there are plenty of us who do go out and use our skills, and we see that multiplication. But there are other people who are afraid to use their talent. They're afraid to use their skill. They're afraid they won't be good at it, or they'll be embarrassed, or they'll be judged. And they bury that skill. They bury what they're good at, and they say, I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to hide it. Church needs to be the place like Pastor Norby who goes and uncovers that skill, who helps that person dig it out of the ground, who says, don't bury your talents. Don't bury your skills. Don't hide who you are. Don't hide what you're good at. Instead, engage it. Bring it out for all to see. And I guarantee you, when you bring your skill and your talent to this place, you will be encouraged and loved and welcomed. We need to be the church that when people reach out their hands and say, I want to do something, I want to help, that we have something to put in those hands and work to be done. Though we see people who are burying their talents, who aren't living into their potential, we encourage them and welcome them and love them into a place where they feel comfortable enough to use the God-given skills that they have. Pastor Peter helped me see my skills and my talents. And because of that, I'm standing here today. And my prayer every day is that as a pastor, I can live into that same model he did and encourage all of you. Or if it isn't me, someone else in the congregation will help you understand your gifts and your talents and your skills and help you find the fulfillment and that joining where talent meets occupation and talent meets what you do in your life and you feel that same fulfillment. Because when we talk about stewardship, like last week in our stewardship of time, and next week when we talk about money, skill and talent is also a huge part of that because we all have something to bring. And what we bring is vital to this church. And this church needs to be better. And when I say this church, I mean the wider church, not just our church. This church needs to be better at encouraging those gifts, about finding the people who are bearing their talents, and about saying you have a place here where you can try things out, where you will be welcomed and loved and not judged, and where we can work together to build up the kingdom of God. Because each and every one of you has gifts for ministry in this room. I'm not the only one with gifts. The people on the council aren't the only ones with gifts. The people who do the prayer ministry in the back aren't the only ones with gifts. We all have something varied and diverse and beautiful to bring to this place. And here at Redemption, you will be encouraged to use your gifts and to explore them. Not only for building up yourself, but for building up the kingdom of God here in this place.